Alrighty, so installing the instance, what do we have here? Well, first we have, are you an Oracle support customer so you can get software updates? Do we want to be notified of Oracle marketing information? I don't. I'm going to reject both of these and click Next. Of course, we get a little bit of marketing here. Are you sure you're not going to stay informed? I'm going to answer yes to that and continue. Again, the issue of software updates, your choices are either to use your support credentials. If you've already downloaded the software updates offline, you can, in a sense, slipstream those in with the second option, or just skip, which is what I'm going to do here in this test environment. This is an important choice here that we don't just want to blow by. We can create and configure a database, install the database software only, or upgrade an existing database. We're going to deal with upgrade at the end of this module, so I'll leave that alone for now. The question of whether to choose the first or second option determines whether you're going to immediately launch into database creation or if you're going to do it as a separate step. I want to do it as a separate step, so I want to make sure to choose the middle option to only install the database software, which is going to create the instance. Speaking of which, it asks us what type of instance do we want. The default is the single instance, which we're actually going to do here, but we can also choose Oracle Real Application Clusters database installation or Oracle RAC OneNode database installation. Believe it or not, it's possible to set up a server cluster with only one node at a time. This is a new feature in Database 12c. It's beyond our scope at this point, so I'm just going to simply say we're going to do a single instance database installation and proceed. I'll next pass my selected language. This is another important screen because it determines our scope of licensing and feature set. We've already talked about the different editions. We have Enterprise, Standard, Standard Edition 1, and Personal. Express is actually a separate download in case you were wondering. You notice that the disk footprint is slightly different. Personal is 3.5 gigs, Enterprise is 6.0 gigs. I suggest for learning purposes that we do Enterprise. It's all free in a development environment anyway, so I'll select Enterprise Edition and click Next. Now it specifies, I'm not going to read this, but Oracle is saying that we should use a non-administrative user account to install and configure the Oracle Home, and the installer will ding you if you choose an administrative account. I'm going to specify OraWin/Ora Service, click Next, and we're now asked to specify the Oracle base. Now notice that it picks up the name of the user that you specify. I'm going to change that to CApp Oracle, and notice that as you make a change to the Oracle base, which represents the home location of all installed Oracle products on that server using OFM naming, it modifies the software location, which is a very important environment variable called Oracle Home. So we see CApp Oracle, and then underneath it Product, and then the version 12.1.0 is the initial release of Database 12c, and the default home folder name is dbhome_1, and we can change that if we want to. Like if we knew in advance what our SID is going to be, our Oracle database name, we can make a change. I'll make it psite as a matter of fact for Pluralsight. Let's click Next. We're going through some prerequisite checks here, and you can actually run the installer from a command prompt session and specify switches or parameters to answer some of these questions in advance. And in particular, if you know that your server may get flagged on a prerequisite check, you can specify to ignore those checks all across the board. Looks like the checks passed okay. We can save as a response file. That gets saved as an RSP format file. And the next thing to do is hit install. Now you might have noticed, well, Tim, where is the reference to automatic storage management? And that's a good question to ask. Remember that automatic storage management deals with the location of your database files. And this step of the installation is simply building the instance, which we'll recall by means of review, refers to a bunch of background processes and memory pools on the server that support a single database. So that's the answer to the question. When we run the Database Configuration Assistant to build our database, then we will absolutely be asked where we want to store the data, whether we're going to put our database files in the local file system that's visible to Windows, or if we want to put them on an ASM instance. In the meantime, I'm going to pause the video so that we don't have to sit here in silent contemplation waiting for this progress meter to go all the way across. I'm going to have to wait either way. But you as my student have the luxury of just seeing time zip by. Good for you.